Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 255, coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, on Saturday, 21st of March, 2026, where it is currently 92 degrees. I'm interrupting my studies of Irish whiskey because my U.S. Navy friend David has been in town for some training for a couple of months, and he always likes to bring over some bourbons, and this one bourbon that he found here in Fort Worth is Willett Pot Still Reserve. And as you can see, there's nothing left here. I've got the last little bit in my glass. And so I thought I've got enough left to do a video. So here we go. If we can finish this, great. Also, I am dedicating this show to a fellow Okie, an Air Force veteran, a world-class martial artist, TV and movie star, a Christian brother, and a great American patriot. So he's from Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. There we go. He was in the Air Force. So I'm using my Air Force glass. And America has lost a great patriot. The earth got poorer and heaven got richer. So to Chuck Norris, cheers. Coming out of Bardstown, Kentucky, this Kentucky straight bourbon was distilled, aged, and bottled by Willett Distillery. This is 94 proof and cost about $50 in Fort Worth. Did I say straight? I'm not sure that this is straight. Nowhere on here do I see the word straight. Is this straight? It's Pot Still Reserve. I don't see the word. Yeah, there it is. There, it says straight. So part of the difficulty, we'll talk about this when I discuss the bottle, but reading stuff on here is difficult. All right, so this is a straight bourbon. History. This distillery was established in 1936, but the Willett family had been involved in the making of whiskey long before that. The family crest goes back to 1684 in London, England, with Edward Willett. Some of the family had immigrated to Maryland by the 1690s, and they lived in Kentucky by 1792. John David Willett was born in 1841, and he went on to be a master distiller and one-third owner of Moore, Willett, and Franke Distillery. Lambert Willett was born in Bardstown in 1883 and worked at several distilleries throughout Kentucky. Thompson Willett was born in 1909, and he would become the founder and president of Willett Distillery in Bardstown, where they built the distillery on the family farm. On March 17th of 1936, St. Patrick's Day, mind you, they rolled their first barrel of whiskey into their warehouse for aging. During the 1940s, the Willett family made the old Bardstown, Kentucky straight bourbon brand. And in 1972, Thompson Willett's daughter, Martha, married Evan Colsfiend, a Norwegian immigrant, and they began running the distillery in 1984. However, during the 1970s, the distillery had been converted to making ethanol for fuel during the energy crisis because of the Middle East war, and eventually shut down production. And today, as I do this, we're in another Middle East war, and gas prices are going through the roof. Imagine that. In 2003, their son Drew joined the business, and it was Drew who introduced the Willett Pot Still, and then the Willett family estate whiskey brand. In 2005, Drew's sister Britt joined the family business, and in 2008, they introduced the Willett Pot Still Reserve bourbon. Here, what they bottle that replicates their new pot still, made with their stored barrels and some sourcing. And that's, their history gets a little complicated. They did a lot of sourcing when they shut down in the 70s to create ethanol. They were still got in the whiskey business, but they were sourcing other people's stuff and bottling. They had 4 or 5 different labels, that they were bottling. They would source, they would blend, all that, but they weren't distilling. And so then after they got this pot still, they opened the Willett Visitor Center in 2011, and in 2012 they began distilling again. So this is still a family-owned business, and that's pretty impressive. So they stretch back into the 1800s. 5 out of 5 for history. I really like their history, even though some confusing aspects there. Bottle, label, and marketing. This bottle is iconic. It is unique. It's fancy. though somewhat irritating if you're cramped for space on your shelves like I am. It looks like they're pot still, or maybe I dream of genie bottle, perhaps. There's no label. The words are printed in gold on the bottle. Can you see that? I don't know. It's hard to read under the best of conditions because the print is gold, the whiskey's gold. What do you do? So that makes it, I mean, it's kind of like Blanton's gold, right? It's just printed on the bottle. So there's no labels. You have to really study to read this. It's got this nice medallion though, right there. It's got a wood stopper, but a synthetic cork. In looking at marketing, this whiskey has been talked about in the whiskey community for a long time. It's been a unicorn. You know, people, hey, have you got this yet? Can you find it anywhere? Looking for Willett. Can you find, you know, it's that kind of a bourbon, right? Well, now in Fort Worth, it's kind of everywhere. I went online to YouTube, and there's not really any advertisements for this. There are lots of reviews, though. I did find 3 videos that were made, I guess, by somebody for the Willett distillery that were pretty good. One was a tour, and that was well done, but just no commercials or advertisements. 5 out of 5 for bottle, label, and marketing. Appearance of the whiskey. I got very little left here, but this is a nice golden color. So it's not pale. That's a solid 3. Composition of this whiskey for batch number 240 is what this is labeled as. 94 proof, and it's 65% corn, 20% wheat, 15% barley. They say on the bottle, Kentucky limestone spring water, new charred oak for at least 4 years. And this is distilled by Willett, even though, you know, this is the pot still. So that's what they're using now. Don't get, you know, although they give the mash bill, they don't tell me exactly which type of wheat and barley. The website might say that, or one of the videos might have said something about that, though. So composition, 14 out of 15. Nose on this whiskey. This is a very pleasant nose. Sweet. Somewhat lemony, maybe. A little bit of spice. Man, there's something in here that's familiar, but I can't quite put my tongue on it. That's just a very delicious nose. It is. Hints of spice and wood. It's almost like pastry, some lemon pastry. That's what that is. Like lemon cake. That's what that is. My mom used to make lemon cake. That's what I'm smelling. Wow. That just got tremendously better. I'm giving that a 9. I'm upping that to a 9. Yeah. Lemon cake. See, that's the thing about whiskey, is it brings back childhood scents and tastes, flavors. Yeah, that was excellent. Let's taste this. See, now I've got lemon cake on the brain. Yeah, that is sweet, lemony. Yeah, I'm now, my mouth is convinced this is lemon cake. Definitely. Get a little bit of spiciness and wood. So this definitely took a turn for the better here. See, I actually haven't had much of this. David got this, and he drank most of it, and then he brought it over, and then we shared a glass, and there was like 1 glass left. So I said, I'm going to do a review. My son didn't get any. I don't think he got any. So, all right, taste 23 points. Mouthfeel, burn, and finish. It's got a decent mouthfeel. You know, at 94 proof, it's not going to be super rich. It's got an appropriate burn. Nothing dramatic. And again, at the end of the bottle, it may be missing some stuff, but the burn is focused in the mouth. More tingles than burn. But I do get a little bit on the back of the throat, which is nice. Starts to head up and starts to head down, but it doesn't get any drama. So it's an appropriate burn. The finish, I'm getting the lemon cake finish still there. The sweetness, a little bit of the spice, lemony. So mouthfeel, burn, and finish is 13. Flexibility. Neat, certainly, that's my preferred way. Iced. You know, you can do what you want. I would not put this on ice. A lot of people do. I think it would work well in a cocktail. I just didn't have enough to do a cocktail. I think this would probably make a pretty good old-fashioned or your cocktail of choice. At the price point, though, you know, you're looking at about $50. I just really hesitate to put $50 whiskeys into cocktails, let alone a mixed drink like, you know, Sprite. This would go good in Sprite or 7-Up. The lemon quality here, I can see working beautifully in Sprite or 7-Up. I don't know that I could do that. Okay, I just have this mental block about putting a $50 whiskey into a 7-Up. So I don't know. Do what you want to, but I think it's flexible enough. So I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to raise that. I had it originally scored as a 4. I'm going to give that a 5 for flexibility. Price, value, and availability. Total Wine has this for $47.99. Goody Goody, $54.99. Specs, $52.62. Now the bourbon is pretty good. At $55 a Goody Goody, though, I kind of think that's overpriced. The Total Wine price, $47.99, $48. I think that's doable. Now, keep in mind, you're paying for a super deluxe fancy bottle. I Dream of Genie quality right here. But, and this bottle was gifted to me. So I didn't buy this. Would I buy it again? Is this, I might, but I would go for Total Wine. This is really pretty good. So I'm going to say it's got great availability in Fort Worth. All 3 of the main stores have it. And it's got good value. So 9 out of 10 for price, value, and availability. Bonus points. Sometimes the name, the hype, and the bottle, all that combined with a pretty good bourbon is worth a little bit of extra cash. And as much as this has been sought after, yeah, almost as a unicorn, and now it's out there a lot, apparently. You know, I think this may be a side benefit of the bourbon glut. Imagine that. And so I would even expect the prices to drop a little bit in the future. But for bonus points, definitely 5 out of 5. I think this is a very worthy bourbon. So my total score, I upped the score to a 90. And letter grade for drinkability, solid A. That's close to an A+ range. Man, that lemon cake quality really did it for me. So I don't know. It's at least a solid A. My recommendation then. Is this a great bourbon? Maybe not, but it's very good though. And it's fancy. It's highly sought after, a unicorn even. So I'm very glad I got to sample it. And again, it was a gift, so I didn't purchase it. Would I purchase it again? I might, because this is really pretty good. I might also go after another Willett offering. I know the rye is in the stores. I've seen that. So what do I recommend? If you love Kentucky bourbons and like chasing unicorns, I think this one's worthy of purchase for sure. I mean, I've seen some reviews of this where people were a little bit disappointed in it, maybe. I don't know what they're tasting. This is wonderful to me. So if you like Kentucky bourbons, I would say go for it. All right. Again, we have dedicated this video to Chuck Norris, a great American who's passed away at the age of 86. And we've interrupted our Irish studies to do this because how often do you get a chance to review something like this? You know, when I get a wonderful gift, it's like, okay, I need to take time to review it. So like I've got another gifted Scotch that I'm going to review here in a couple of weeks. So other than that, we're going to return to our Irish studies this next time. So this is Stab the Dragon Productions, out here.